Here it is. Here it is. Check out how big these things are. Also, I got a selfie like I was shooting this one. I've been wanting to see the Battleship for a long time. And since we were headed down to Wetzel's to check out that restaurant and eat some oysters, check out that vlog if you haven't. I wanted to take you on a tour of what we experienced at the USS Alabama. It's right there on the left as you come from Pensacola headed to Mobile. And I've always wanted to check it out. I always saw that submarine sitting out there. I was like, how cool would it be to check out a submarine? See, I was an old Army guy and we didn't have stuff like that. We had tanks, but we didn't have submarines. And I was like, since little Jack hasn't seen a battleship, and neither had Samantha, let's go check it out. So we took the whole family down there and we started off at the submarine. You know, you got to go through the checkpoint, you got to pay your money. Veterans get a discount, but which I thought was interesting. They don't get a lot of a discount, even though it's all because of veterans. Anyways, all right, this is the Battleship. I think it's the USS Alabama here in Mobile. And we're gonna go do a tour of the Battleship and then of the submarine that is over here. Then all these big planes. See that big one over there? Been wanting to do this for a long time. So I got little Jack, Samantha, the whole crew, and we're gonna go see what's inside here. We went through the line, we paid our money, we got our wristbands, and we started off the submarine. Little Jack couldn't go through the submarine because, you know, he's 2. So he had to stay down below with Grandpa. Little Jack's down there. Got a patrol boat. That's pretty cool. There's Mobile. It looks way bigger from the ground. While me, Samantha, and Grandma Baba went and checked out the entire submarine. We went through it, and I will say this, if you're claustrophobic, think about this one, because I thought I was a tough guy, but as I went through the submarine, you start at one end and you go all the way to the other, you go through the galley and you check out the periscope, which is kind of cool. You can see it's really small in here. Check this out. The Battleship through the periscope. It's a little foggy, but you know if you pulled the trigger, you could probably hit the Battleship. Probably bounce off, but it was pretty cool. You can actually see the Battleship through the periscope. Little crosshairs. I kind of felt like I was in a scene of Hunt for Red October, and I was the captain, but then everybody brought me back to reality. As I went to the back of it though, you go through the quarters and you go to the engine room. It got claustrophobic for me. And by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, I'm ready to get out of this thing because I realized I couldn't go back the other way because there's a lot of people in there. And the smell of the engine room, there was just something about it. Maybe it was just being a war vet, but there was something about the smell of the engine room that I had to get out of there. Just FYI, I was a little claustrophobic. Check out this cannon. It's not as big as the ones in the Army, but it's pretty big. Well, that was an adventure, and that's why I joined the Army right there, because I never want to go back in one of those again. I was a little claustrophobic there at the end, and then he told me to the end that you can't go back out the other way. You got to keep going. So you start on this end, come out on that end. A little claustrophobic. Maybe being a sissy, but a little claustrophobic. Here it is. Here it is. So we cruised on over to the Battleship, and I will say the Battleship was a sight to see. You felt like you could just fire on Fairhope if you wanted to, if you were the captain of the ship. You could see it in the distance, you could see Mobile, you could see these big guns pointed out, and you realized how you controlled your domain if you were the captain of that battleship. Check out how big these things are. Also, I got a selfie like I was shooting this one, but that thing would bark, son. I feel like it was a sight to see. We went all the way up to the crow's, well, we tried to get to the crow's nest. You can't go all the way up unless I just missed where you're supposed to do that. It starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it was a really cool view. Samantha wasn't able to make it. She was watching Little Jack, but it was a lot of steps to go up. And if you are not in decent shape, you're probably gonna say, I don't want to go up any further. And then you got to go all the way back down. But there's little spots where you can go out left to right and you can see as you go up. But we went back in, checked out the hangar. There was some old airplanes. There was some really cool cars, trucks. They were all on loan though from NAS Pensacola, the Naval Air Station Air Museum. If you watched my vlog on that, you will see that museum. Great spot. If you take your kids, it's like a 2-day adventure. There's a lot to see in the Naval Museum for aviation. It's kind of like the Infantry Museum on Fort Benning. That one was a great one too, really big. You can see the history of the infantry. Okay, so this is probably the coolest thing here. I believe this is an SR-71, the fastest aircraft ever created. This thing would do like Mach 4 plus, I believe. It's cool to actually see one. They're bigger than I thought they'd be. Way bigger. And this bad boy could almost touch space. Montana in like 2 minutes. You could fly over Russia, not one missile could touch it. That is pretty cool. But there's a lot of little spots like that along the Gulf Coast where you can see history and what it was all about. And I strongly suggest if you're here visiting or moving here, you go and check out these places. The Battleship, Fort Pickens, Fort Barrancas. I would check out the Naval Air Museum on Pensacola NAS. I would go downtown, see all the history downtown Pensacola, go to Mobile downtown, see all that history down there. There's a lot to see and a lot we take for granted. I've always seen it from the road. I've never actually been in it. So every time I went past, I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna go check this thing out. Well, here we are. And I hope this helped. One of the coolest things I thought at the Battleship was the SR-71. That is a piece of history that a lot of people don't know about. It's probably like the fastest airplane ever created as of we know. Well, that's a wrap. We got pictures and we checked out the whole place. Now for the ride back to Pensacola. It was part of the Cold War, and it was probably part of you-know-where 51, and that's probably what that place was actually built to conceal, was the Blackbird, the SR-71. It is really cool for your kids to know it, see it, and realize the satellite replaced it, most likely. But that is my spill on the Battleship. I think it's a great place, very interesting, little pricey. If you're a veteran, you can get a little cheaper. I think it's like 18 bucks versus 15 bucks. And if you're looking for places to eat, check out my videos where we went to Witzel's. We've done a few other places around Mobile, and then all the ones in Pensacola. And if you happen to be buying or selling or need to get rid of real estate on the Gulf Coast, my email is down below. I happen to be a real estate agent, and that's what brings us these great videos. See you guys on the next vlog. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you've got a place that I should review, because I'm kind of in review mode. They're fun, interesting, and it's always an adventure. See you guys later.